Greetings, colleagues, fellow teachers and educators around the world. I'm Nikos Sifakis. In today's Everything English Language Teaching, I'll provide the answer to a question that I get very often. In the university courses and other teacher training seminars that I'm involved with, I almost always ask my students and trainees to provide a comprehensive account of their teaching context. I am not alone in this. The same task is part of most, if not all, assignments involving teachers of English. Put simply, every time a teacher is required to present an original task, an original or adapted lesson, any such kind of thing, in a comprehensive way, they are, first of all, required to provide an account of their teaching context. But what do we mean by teaching context? Well, let me break down the question of teaching context into two sub-questions. The first one asks simply, why? Why do I need to provide my teaching context? What I want to do is present a lesson I've taught, a task I've prepared, a test I've put together. Why do I need to talk about my context? The answer is simple, because when we talk about any endeavor that centers around the language classroom, be it teaching, learning, assessing, testing, and so on, no one can make sense of anyone else's points unless they understand the specifics of their situation. Where they teach, what learners they teach, to what purpose they teach, how they teach. How can I learn from your teaching experiences when I don't know anything about you and your learners? How can I contribute my thoughts to your worries and problems unless I have a comprehensive understanding of exactly how these worries are situated? How can you help me if I don't explain my own teaching situation? How can we enter any kind of fruitful dialogue about our lessons if we don't have a mutual understanding of each other's teaching specifications? Providing such information is essential because no two classes are the same. Even the same class with the same students is different depending on the day, the time, the room, but even other things like the weather, individual learners' mood, your own mood, and so on. So, we have established the need for providing a comprehensive description of our teaching context. Now, let's go to the second sub-question. What do we include in such a description? Well, there are four general categories that should be included. Each category responds to a simple WH question: where, who, what and why. I conflate these two together for reasons of simplifying the description, and how. In your presentation of the various features of your teaching context, always move from the specific to the general, from the most immediately available information to the less accessible information, or from the more known to the least known. As we will see, some pieces of this information can be readily provided, but some other pieces would need more substantiation and detail, which means that it will depend on what is required of you to present in each case. So let's consider each one of the four categories of teaching context in turn, beginning with the where. Moving from the more specific to the more general, there are four levels here. Level 1. My individual class, that is, the immediate class that I teach. For example, I teach a group of 23 fifth grade primary school learners, or I teach a group of 12 second year undergraduate students, or I teach in a one-to-one private lesson situation. There are, of course, millions of possibilities here. Level 2. The institution, if any, that the class is integrated within. So my fifth grade would be in the second primary school of Athens in Greece. The group of students would be in the School of Engineering of the Technical University of Crete, and so on. Level 3. The geographical territory. Athens, Greece. Vienna, Austria. Tainan, Taiwan, and so on. And this brings us to the final level, level 4, the broader region in terms of CACRU's circles. Whether each teaching situation is in the inner, outer, or expanding circle, that is, in an ENL, ESL, or EFL situation. As I've shown in this video, referring to which of the three CACRU circles your teaching context is embedded provides quick information about the status of English in the region where you teach, both inside and outside of your classroom. That's what the where should be of your teaching context. Now, let's move on to the who. The who refers to your learner or learners. As you can understand, this level of information is much more complicated and demanding, and it would depend on the level of detail that you would like to present. The who refers to essentially two categories. The first category is your learners, and the second category is everyone else. With regard to your learners, you can present information that is immediately available, such as their age and their gender. Depending on the situation, you can then provide further details, if they are available to you, regarding your learner's personal language profile, the current proficiency level in English, the extent to which individual learners are monolingual, bilingual, or multilingual, or whether there are any language-related learning disabilities, such as dyslexia. And the learning profile, individual learners' preferred learning strategies and styles. Also, their attitudes towards using and learning English, their attitudes towards and motivation regarding this specific class and its so-called target situation. With regards to the other category that includes all the other stakeholders, here you can present information about learners' parents or sponsors. For example, if you teach the employees of a particular company, then the company may pay for their tuition, so they have a say. Again, not all such information is readily available, and it would depend on the level of detail that is required of you to give when presenting your teaching context. Having said that, you understand that all of this information are different pieces of a broader puzzle that can help your colleagues understand your teaching context. Let's now move on to the what and the why of your teaching context. Both of these refer to the purpose of your teaching and break down as follows. Again, from the more specific to the more general. The textbooks that you use, the syllabus that these textbooks follow, and the broader curriculum in which the syllabus and textbooks are integrated. Again, not all of the information may be readily available to you here, but you should be able to provide information on the textbooks, including information about the workbooks, grammar books, dictionaries, and any other print-based or online materials that you use as input in your class. The syllabus and curriculum may be more complicated. The curriculum is a document that offers guidelines and broad specifications for the aims of a teaching situation. The syllabus typically specifies the day-to-day or week-to-week program of the topics to be covered and specific aims to be met. In many cases, the syllabus might be identified with the textbook's contents, but in most cases, you should be able to determine what the curricular situation for your teaching context is. This is how we can understand whether your teaching situation is oriented toward preparing your learners for a particular exam, for example, and what type of exam that is. And finally, the how. This refers to the teaching methodologies employed by you, the teacher. This is another feature that would require a more extensive analysis, as there are different things to consider and questions to be addressed here. What teaching methodology is employed? Are you following the communicative language teaching approach? Are you using the task-based instructional framework? And to what extent is your teaching style a mixture of different approaches? In your description of your teaching context, you should be able to provide at least some general information of the how. So there you have it. A presentation of your teaching context should include information on the where, who, what and why, and how. By providing such information, you are helping your colleagues form a really comprehensive understanding of your own context. You can then move on to talking about issues, concerns, or any instructional experimentations that you want to carry out. What are your own thoughts on teaching context? How important do you consider presenting information that is comprehensive? Are the 4 categories presented in this video helpful to you? Let me know in the comments. As always, I look forward to communicating with you. Bye for now.